Now the metaplasia. Suppose this is you. Usually you used to go to the forest to take out woods, but this time the woods are in the sea. Now you cannot go to the bed of sea. You need to become a fish or a shark to so that you can go. So earlier you were man, now you are fish. Why? The environment changed. Similarly, in the metaplasia, this is the thing which occurs. Let's see. What is metaplasia? Meta means changed and plasia means formation. So let's define metaplasia. This is change in stress causing a change of existing tissue or cell from change in tissue or cell which can resist or handle stress. Let's say this is your stomach. Stomach has acid. Here you have goblet cells which produces mucin, all those bicarbonates and everything, and it coats your stomach. So your stomach wall is not damaged by the HCl, but you have a sphincter here, cardiac sphincter. What if this sphincter is not working properly? This acid will come up, right? But here you don't have goblet cells, so this part will be started to destroyed, right? So here the pH changed. Now the cell needs to adapt because the HCl is destroying them. So here you had non-keratinized epithelium. This non-keratinized epithelium will change into simple columnar epithelium because goblet cells are modified columnar cells. So if the modified columnar cells are here, even if there is acid, the acid will not be able to do anything. Because why? Because the goblet cells are here producing the mucin. So there was a change in stress, which was the change in pH, which caused a existing cell which was non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium to change to simple columnar epithelium so that it can resist or handle the stress better. So what is the mechanism of metaplasia? Mechanism of metaplasia is reprogramming of basal cells. Why do we call it basal cells? Suppose this is your basement membrane. We are drawing non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. This is your basal cells present at the basement membrane. Now this is another cell, this is another cell, this is another cell. Which cell has the capability to divide? Only these cells has the capability to divide. So tell me one thing, if you change this cell, will it matter? No, it will be destroyed. But what if you change these cells? These cells are the one which are giving rise to these cells. So if you change the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium basal cells to simple columnar epithelium cells, soon this epithelium will become simple columnar, right? And how does it happen? Reprogramming of the basal cells. You change the execution of the cells. Like, what does it mean? See, we all were born with 23 pairs of chromosome. All of your cells of entire body except the gamete cells have the same genetic material. So this genetic material has the the genes for your columnar epithelium, while also having squamous epithelium, non-keratinized squamous epithelium also. So if you change the genetic machinery and you say you order the cell, now you don't have to be non-keratinized stratified epithelium and you have to become columnar epithelium. Can he do it? Yes, he can. One cell can convert into another cell, and that is known as metaplasia if there is a need. For example, here you had the need of pH. Now let's see this Barrett's esophagus in little detail. Barrett's esophagus. In the Barrett's esophagus, the cardiac sphincter wasn't working properly, so there was the reflux of the acid. Since there was the reflux of the acid, can we say etiology of the Barrett's is acid reflux? Yes, that is the etiology. What is the normal epithelium here? Normal epithelium is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. In Barrett's esophagus, what epithelium does it change to? It changes to simple columnar epithelium. Now, simple columnar means it changes into goblet cell, right? Because some of the simple columnar epithelium will change to goblet. Suppose this is simple columnar epithelium. Some cells will modify and it will start producing mucin. So these are known as simple columnar cells modified to produce mucin, or the goblet cells. Now, can we say this Barrett's esophagus as Barrett's esophagus metaplasia as goblet cell metaplasia? Yes, because you are changing to goblet cells. Can we also say it columnar metaplasia? Yes, because Barrett's esophagus causes the metaplasia to columnar epithelium. Or can we say it glandular metaplasia? Because your goblet cells are the cellular glands. This is secretory in nature. So yes, Barrett's esophagus metaplasia can be also known as goblet cell metaplasia, columnar metaplasia, or the glandular metaplasia. Now let's see Barrett's endoscopy. When suppose this is your mouth. I'm sorry. Suppose this is your mouth. If you insert an endoscopy tube, when it reaches 41 centimeter, now you know the gastroesophageal junction has come. This is the stomach, this is esophagus, and this part is located where? At the 41 centimeter. So what you know from the histology is, this is your non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. This is the basement membrane. This is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. And soon this is changing into simple columnar epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium. Now tell me one thing, this is stratified, it means this will have multiple layer. It means this will be thick. This is simple columnar epithelium, it means simple means single. There will be single layer of cells. Now tell me one thing, if light goes from here to here, can you see blood vessel in the simple columnar or in the simple squamous epithelium? Simple columnar or the stratified squamous? Of course in the simple columnar. Why? Because this is thin. Suppose this is a film of plastic and your phone is below it. Can you see your phone? Yes, because this is thin. But what if the plastic is very thick? Can you see your phone now? No, because the plastic is very thick and now opaque. Similarly, in Barrett's esophagus, the velvety appearance that you see here, the red and white patches, that is because of the metaplasia. The red patches that you see here, this is because simple columnar epithelium. Simple columnar means single layer of cell. This is thin, so you can see the underlying blood vessel. But in this white part, there is stratified squamous epithelium. So this is multiple layer or the thick layer, so you cannot see the blood vessel which is below it. So this is the reason why it appears white. And in the simple columnar epithelium, you can see the blood vessel below it. That is why it appears red. That is why Barrett's endoscopy appears as zones of shiny, velvety regions. Why shiny? Because the goblet cell is producing mucin, which give it what? It gives the shiny appearance. So this is white because of this is thicker. Why this is thicker? Because this has non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, multiple layers. It means this is thick. Why red? Because this is thin. Why? This has simple columnar epithelium. Thus you can see the underlying blood vessels. Got it? Now let's see the histopathology of the biopsy. You took the you did the endoscopy, you took a biopsy from here, you took a section from the probe, and now you sent it to a pathology lab. Now tell me one thing, mucus which comes out of your nose, this is transparent. So fat cells are also transparent. How will we differentiate whether this is mucus or this is fat cells? Well, you have various stains like Alcyon blue. Alcyon blue stains the mucus what? Blue color. You have PAS or the periodic acid sniff. This stains the mucin into magenta. And that is how you confirm in the pathology lab whether the biopsy is of mucus producing cells or that is adipocytes. Now what can be the complication of metaplasia? See, you see that this was stratified epithelium, now this changed to simple epithelium. It means you are reprogramming every time. Tell me one thing, this is not the nature of epithelium which is present here. You are reprogramming it after every cycle. It was normal, reprogramming, again reprogramming, reprogramming. There will be a time where the cell won't be able to do it very efficiently and perfectly. If it is not perfect, it means this is imperfect. And if this is imperfect, what can it undergo? Metaplasia can undergo dysplasia or the abnormal cell division or growth. Dysplasia can soon become your neoplasia or the cancer. So one complication of your Barrett's esophagus is what? Lower esophageal, because there is acid reflux. Adeno means gland, carcinoma means cancer. Cancer of epithelial cells are known as carcinoma. Adeno means gland, esophageal means esophagus. So this part of esophagus will develop cancer if you don't treat the patient. Okay, so treatment of patient is very important, and you will study it in pharmacology about the use of proton pump inhibitors like pantoprazole, metaprazoles. Okay, that's not my thing right now, so you will be studying it in pharmacology. Now, smokers' respiratory tract. See, what is the normal epithelium in the respiratory tract? That is your pseudo-stratified, ciliated columnar epithelium. This is pseudo-stratified. This is pseudo-stratified, but this is also very thin, because this might appear as multiple layer like one here, but this is also a single epithelial layer. Now, if you throw the smoke here, smoke has various kind of chemicals in it. It will have various kind of materials. It will have small particles of the dust, ashes, and everything. It will damage the pseudostratified ciliated epithelium. The cilia will be destroyed. You destroyed the cilia which was uh, which had a purpose to remove the dust and debris from the respiratory tract. Now, once the pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium is destroyed at cilia or the cells, again it will undergo metaplasia. This time it will reprogram to squamous cells metaplasia, or you can say stratified squamous epithelium. Your respiratory tract, if someone is smoking, please don't do it. This is very harmful. It can lead to cancer. There was normal epithelium which was pseudostratified epithelium. Smoke came, smoke destroyed the cilia, destroyed the epithelium. Now to cope up with the changing environment, the cell undergo metaplasia and it changed to stratified squamous epithelium, also known as squamous metaplasia. Got it? Again, if this is prolonged, like if someone is smoking for very long, this metaplasia will convert into dysplasia, and dysplasia will soon convert it into neoplasia. Neo means growth, sorry, neo means new, plasia means growth, new growth, and this can be cancerous also. Got it? Another example of your metaplasia is keratomalacia. Kerato means keratin. Let's see. Suppose there is low vitamin A. Your eye have a very thin film that is known as conjunctiva. If there is no sufficient level of vitamin A, there is non maintenance of conjunctiva. If there is non-maintenance of conjunctiva, the conjunctival cell will metastasize to suitable cells. It will metastasize into what kind of suitable cells? Again, stratified squamous epithelium. But this time, the stratified squamous epithelium will have keratin. And that is why this is known as keratomalacia. Got it? Now, we saw squamous epithelium at two places. It was in the respiratory tract metaplasia and also in the keratomalacia. But it can be present in other places also. For example, there is an hollow organ. For example, this is the gallbladder. The gallbladder has now the gallstones, or it has, let's say this is your gallbladder, and now the gallbladder has gallstone, also known as cholelithiasis. Now these are the stones. They will go and they will damage the wall of gallbladder. Now since this is getting damaged, this is also a stress for it. The cells of the gallbladder lining will try to adapt. Earlier it was your simple columnar epithelium, which is a single layer of a cell. So single layer can be easily destroyed. So this will also change into multiple layered. Again, this will change into stratified squamous epithelium, to a multiple layer of epithelium. Another organ, urinary bladder. If there is urinary bladder, it can have your stones, the renal caliculi. Suppose this is urinary bladder and there are stones. The stones can destroy the wall of urinary bladder and can destroy the lining of the urinary bladder, which is the urothelium. Again, the urothelium cells will change. It will change to what? Stratified squamous epithelium. So remember, squamous metaplasia takes place where? In the smoker's respiratory tract, keratomalacia, and also in the organs with hollow cavity. Squamous metaplasia takes place in also the organs with hollow cavity. Got it? Like your gallbladder and the urinary bladder. Another one is the myositis ossificans. Suppose this is your bone. It underwent fracture. Now at the site of fracture, various growth factors will be there, right? What this growth factor wants it, there will be cells which are maintaining the bones, which are dividing and which are destroying the bone cells, osteoblast, osteocytes, and osteoclast. Now these growth factor will go and it will input the bone to heal. For that, these growth factor will input the bone to heal. But this growth factor can also seep outside. This growth factor can go outside of this clot and it can cause the ossification of other structures. Again, this is a bone. It underwent a fracture. At the site of fracture, clot formed. Inside the clot, growth factor was there. When you go to the hospital after a fracture, the doctor always says, please do not move your hand or leg where it is fractured. Why? Because there is growth factor which is present inside the clot at the place of the fracture, and if you move your hand or leg, this clot will break. If this clot will break, the growth factor will seep into the environment, for example muscle. This growth factor will cause the ossification of muscle also, and this is known as myositis ossificans. Got it? What is myositis ossificans? This is trauma induced growth factor causing not just ossification of bone but nearby structures also, for example nearby structure like muscles. Got it? That is your myositis ossificans. Fracture, formation of clot here, clot has growth factor, but you were stubborn, you moved your hand, the clot break, growth factor diffuses outside, causing the ossification of nearby structure. This nearby structure is not just meant to be muscle. Any structure which is mesenchymal in nature, it will ossify, because growth factor is supposed to ossify your bone. Bone is also mesenchymal structure, so anything which is mesenchymal in nature, it will also ossify.